Welcome back, guys, to the Monster Energy Dota 2 Invitational presented by Logitech here at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. I am standing next to two Dota 2 superstars, Fear and Demon. Fear, of course, from Team EG, and Demon, who is standing in for Cloud9. Now, Fear, we just got finished talking to you. You just emerged victorious over Team Liquid. You're here in the grand finals. You let us know that you think that just getting that early game on track is what's going to bring you guys to the top. Are you feeling very confident right now?
Yeah, I'm quite confident. We just need to work on our early game, and I think we should have some pretty good games versus Cloud9.
You know, you guys were able to beat EG yesterday, and they seem to be confident that they can beat you today. Do you think they're right? Do you think that getting their early game in check will give you guys some good competition, or are you ready for that?
Well, I'm definitely ready. I mean, you can be confident all you want, but you never want to land for a reason, son.
Well, as you may have guessed, these two have a long-standing relationship. They have played together before. Fear, what is it like playing against someone like Demon, where you know a lot about his strategy and his attitude already?
I don't know. It's like I haven't played against him very much, like on LAN. This is probably my first LAN playing against him, so it's gonna be a lot of fun, I guess. I do know how his play style is, so it's kind of a little easier to read his moves than most people. But yeah.
And, you know, Demon, you are a stand-in for Cloud9. Does that give you guys a little bit of an edge in terms of unpredictability, or is it something you have to overcome in terms of synergy?
Most definitely. We have a LAN-winning team, and this is our championship to win.
You're sounding very, very confident today. All right. Demon, or Fear says we'll see about that. Fear, do you have any shout-outs you want to give, any thoughts you have, last closing remarks before we head into this grand final?
No, I'm just excited for the games. We're more than prepared, so we're ready to take it home.
Sounds good to me. And what about you, Demon?
Big shout out to my supporters, the Demon Army, and of course all my beautiful fans.
Sounds good. All right, guys, best of luck. Go ahead and shake hands. Have a good game, and we'll throw it back to our casters, AC and Fogs.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. For the last time, we're live here from South by Southwest, the Monster Energy Invitational, brought to you by Logitech. And yeah, it all comes down to this, man, a best-of-5 grand final between EG and Cloud9. The run back is what this is. We saw these two teams square off once, and let's be real here. Cloud9 really got the best of them in all phases of that series. They just were it was a dominating performance across the board. And yeah, I'm really anxious to see the adjustments that are going to be made, if any, by EG to make sure they don't have a repeat performance from there.
Yeah, for sure. EG is definitely going to come out a lot stronger in these games. If they do keep their early game together, it's going to be very, very beneficial for them. And I'm very glad that we don't have a starting game advantage for either of the team, for the winning team that came out of the upper bracket. I'm glad we're just coming in even board. Both teams have a great shot at coming into this, and both teams can definitely compete very well and can definitely win either of them.
And we'd like to be into the draft right now, but believe it or not, just as the lobby was ready to launch, I actually lost connection to Steam. And we saw you lose connection to Steam just a second ago, and now we're back up. Excellent. So only a brief pause, and I'm pretty sure we're all set to go. And there we are. Getting ready to load into the draft now for game number 1 of our best-of-5 grand finals here from the Monster Energy Invitational. And we can see the lineups, of course, for Evil Geniuses. They're here full-staffed. And Team Liquid and Cloud9 both came in down a man. Yeah. But to be honest with you, Demon has just played great. I mean, pretty much everything he's been asked to do, he's done not only well, but he's been able, I mean, his calling card is high risk, high reward. But to tell you the truth, we've seen a lot more rewards than we have any downside of those risks he tends to take, at least so far over this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not only because of Demon. I mean, the way that C9 just works together, it really complements the way Demon plays, because these guys, the 4 of them together, really take over the game, and Demon's mostly allowed to do whatever he wants to do in these games. If he wants to farm, we've seen him just farm away, or if he wants to try to go for some big plays, he can do that, and C9 can make up for it all over the map because of their just pristine movement. The way Pylai and Aoi have been playing has just been so incredible. This support duo is one of the best that I've seen in quite a while.
And as you can see, we got a packed house here in front of our main stage here at South by Southwest. That's right, Dota fans all across the board. And a lot of people who have come over, and this is what's so cool about doing a LAN at an event like this. A lot of folks that I'm sure were here for other reasons, be it just to check out the event as a whole, or maybe they have another game that gets the majority of their time and they've heard of Dota but never tried it, and now they get a chance to be a part. I love all the signs we've seen over the last few days as well. But yeah, now they get a chance to be a part of all the pageantry that we have here as part of our Invitational. And the draft is beginning to get underway. EG, tell you what, based on how good Sing Sing has looked on Ember Spirit all throughout the last couple of days, no surprise whatsoever to see them take that out very fast.
Yeah, and something we haven't really been seeing getting too much attention is this Wisp, but the way Cloud9 plays this Wisp is just so aggressively, and even though Pieliedie does get quite a number of deaths under his belt, overall, he was one of the only ones who was dying inside of the games yesterday, so I'm not surprised to see that banned out by Evil Geniuses. They don't want to be dealing with this dual lane that C9 really crippled them with, this Luna Wisp dual lane, or that aggressive tri-lane that they did with this Wisp Treant Protector.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I'm not surprised to be seeing that banned out. I'm really interested to see what the first pick's going to be. There's a lot of good heroes left in the pool. There's the Nyx, there's the Furon, there's the Invoker, as well as the Visage.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, the Visage actually just banned out by Cloud9. And no surprise to see that from them as well. I mean, all throughout the matches over the last couple of days, Zai has looked phenomenal on that hero and has really been a huge part of EG's success. This time, though, it will be EG snagging up the first pick, Nyx Assassin. We'll see what two Cloud9 wants to bring back.
Yeah, and let's see if we get the Potom for Sing Sing out of this first two, which we probably will. There's also an Ancient Apparition in there, too, and Cloud9 loves that hero, and Aoi plays it so spectacular. Not only just that, the way that they move with it, they give him a lot of space just to get farm up, try to get his Ags as early as possible, get his levels up, and just play around it with that, using the global ability of that ultimate.
Luna as well, a hero we've seen Envy have an immense amount of success on. Really fits his playstyle, and you and I were talking about it when we watched them play EG yesterday. You know, sometimes you just have players, and good examples like Shadow Fiend with Demon. Sometimes players just kind of get a hero on a different level than even professional players usually do. They just seem to totally understand, be it through experience or be it through just you know, a clicking of their play style with the way a hero plays out. And that's definitely the case, I think, with Eternal Envy's Luna. I mean, when you see him play, he just always pushes it right to the edge. He's ultra aggressive, even more so than most early games the Lunas are in particular, but he always seems to be on the winning side of those trades. So we will see the Mirana picked up for Sing Sing or picked up for whoever happens to be playing it. Still waiting on that second pick now from C9.
Yeah, and another thing about Eternal Envy's Luna, he doesn't go the standard build that we do see a lot of players doing, rush straight into this BKB. He decides to just play along, decide how the game's going, and if he wants to, he's just going to go as greedy as possible and take advantage. And a hero that I actually did forget about is the Bat Rider that Cloud9 decides to pick up, and not the Ancient Apparition. It's a little bit surprising to me, but Demon does play an excellent Bat Rider, and that's probably where we're going to see him play it.
Yeah, the Bat, I mean, and we've seen that Bat have a lot of success across all of the matches throughout the last few days. And the hero, you know, we've talked about it kind of to death, has really been rising again in popularity, really popular with a number of players and a number of teams. Is just as good as he's always been at what he does. But he's just a great hero that you can, you know, gives you a little bit of a safety zone, gives you some comfort. If he doesn't have the best laning phase, fine. Just try to play defensive, keep your towers up, put him in the jungle. He'll find his blink one way or the other. And, you know, even if you want to sit him into the off lane, all he needs is level 2, level 3 to really be pretty damn efficient in jungling as a whole.
Yeah, as long as he has a couple stacks up, he can catch up super effectively in comparison to most heroes, which can't really jungle nearly as effective as a Bat Rider just because of the power of Firefly and Sticky Napalm.
Yep.
And waiting to see what EG decides to pick up here. There's a lot of options that they can go. There still is Dazzle and Bane. I was going to say that too, yeah. And yeah, they do go for this Bane. So now we're probably going to see this Nyx going offlane.
Yeah.
Which we have been seeing a lot in the past. And they do have this Bane, which is a great lockdown, and they don't want to be dealing with a Bane, Mirana, any type of things like this.
And waiting for the second ban phase to get underway. Do like the Bane pickup. And, yeah, I mean, both teams right now, like you said, it's pretty – it looks to be fairly standard. I mean, obviously with a Bat Rider and Mirana, very versatile heroes. You can run the Bat mid, you can run him pure jungle, run him off lane. Hell, if you want to throw it back, I've even seen him run some, like pure lane support a couple of times, as wonky as that happens to be. Yep. Mirana, great in the off lane as a solo mid as well, and even plays well as a support, so pretty ambiguous there. Evil Genius is a little bit more transparent, as you said. Nyx Assassin, and we talked about this a bit, is really finding his home in that off lane, the new and improved off lane, I guess, depending on how you feel about it. Just much more open to heroes, a lot more heroes. The hero pool, basically, that are really, truly viable in solo off lanes has really expanded, and Nyx Assassin a huge beneficiary of that.
Yeah, and the great thing about Cloud9, too, is that yesterday we did see Demon playing mid for Cloud9 both of the games, so it still could be them running this aggressive tri-lane, aggressive dual lane that they want to do, put Sing Sing out on the off lane or in this aggressive dual lane, aggressive tri-lane I was saying before, and have Demon playing this Bat Rider mid or something along these lines. It's very good because they don't Evil Genius is going to have a pretty hard time predicting the lanes coming out of Cloud9. And right now, Cloud9 do have two great gankers, but Evil Geniuses also has two excellent gankers, and Nyx is a very good preventer for Bat Rider.
And one hero that did sneak through the second ban phase here and could be an option for Cloud9 is AUI's Chen, of course. We see how well he plays that hero. He's just excellent on it. The Ancient Apparition instead, the ban from Evil Geniuses. And really, this is just two teams who have done their homework. Cloud9, as much as they enjoy getting Demon, that Shadow Fiend, I honestly, in this case, as you said, most likely going to be a Demon Bad Rider to begin with. But they know Arteezy enjoys that hero a lot, and we saw Arteezy dominate with it earlier today already. So not allowing that to slide through. Also going to go ahead and take the Nyx pick away.
Yeah, which is great because Nyx and Nyx together, we don't really see it too often with the Infest ganks. We haven't been seeing it too much in this tournament, but it is a very strong and very lethal combo because Nyx overall is just a great hero. And right now, EG has a lot of burst in this lineup, and I'm really excited to see what these next two picks come out of both of these teams because it could really just start to give away the lanes a little bit more because right now, it's really anybody's game how they want to do these lanes.
Yeah, it's really tough to predict. And, that's one of the hallmarks of a very solid draft is ambiguity. There's that Luna. We knew if she were to survive, that was going to be a very, very high priority pick, and they do go ahead and grab it for Eternal Envy.
Yeah, so now we're probably, they still could go an aggressive tri lane with this Luna for sure, but we're most likely going to see Sing Sing playing on this Mirana in the mid and Bat Rider playing on this off lane, or even the short lane versus this Nyx Assassin, because both these heroes, they can do quite well versus each other. If Nyx gets a couple mana burns in Bat Rider versus the lane, if they are versus 1v1, he can do quite well versus Bat Rider and get a couple CS under his belt with that Poor Man's Shield and that innate built-in health regen that he does have.
And looks with this third pick, we'll see if they're going to finish their supporting cast for Evil Geniuses or if they're going to go ahead and prioritize a pickup for Arteezy or for Fear. And that is, of course, assuming that it will be a Universe Nyx Assassin going into the off lane. But, the support play for Evil Geniuses in their previous season, that's really where I feel like they short things up so much. And granted, it was against Team Liquid. They were down a man and, not playing quite as well throughout the last couple of days as certainly Cloud9 has been. But still, you just saw much better performances in terms of movement, in terms of decision-making from PPD in general. And I feel like that is something they're going to be looking to replicate here. So they might even prioritize grabbing a support pick here early to make sure he gets a hero he really, really wants. Though we have seen him play on the Bane too. So we'll just have to see which player wants to be handling who.
Yeah, it's either, I don't know if they really want to show Fear's hero just now, but a Weaver pick right now isn't the worst. I mean, it's a pretty strong semi-carry, which does scale very well into the late game if he does start getting a couple items under his belt, and he does do pretty decent versus these heroes. He is hard to get ganked by the Bat Rider and the Mirana, but the combo, they go actually for an early Morphling out now, so pretty surprising to see this one, but I think it's a damn good pickup because if Bat Rider does lasso this Morphling, he can start morphing right away, and he's not really in too risk of getting killed. But the combination from the Bat Rider and Mirana is quite lethal. If he drags someone into an arrow, that guy's stunned for another 5 seconds or 4 seconds after that lasso is down, and they have so much time to try to bring him down.
And you're seeing Evil Geniuses grab the Morphling for Arteezy. We saw him play pretty well. I mean, he struggled early in that final game of our first series of the day, but he did catch up. And, his play style as a player really showing through. If there was anything you could really knock him for, he was a bit over-aggressive, rushing into fights, rushing into counter engagements, and so on and so forth. But that can, and there's AUI's Chen. That did survive that second ban phase. Not a big surprise at all to see that come out, and we'll see how that's going to be utilized. But back to Arteezy for a moment. It's one of those situations where because of how bad functions, oh wow, a Tidehunter now to come out for Evil Geniuses. So they're going to pick up their counter initiation right there.
Yeah, and they definitely want to have some strong lanes. They do have this greedy Morphling type build. If we see it mid, it is very greedy because I'm assuming Cloud9 is going to rotate as much as possible and just put so much pressure on him. Aoi will probably grab one of these creeps that he can just start spamming the Morphling down and not let him try to get this bottle out anytime soon because we have been seeing Arteezy go for this Wraith Band and 2 pool tangos and then bringing himself a salve if he needs to. But it's really risky because if he doesn't get the CS he needs for the bottle and that other mid laner just capitalizes on it, he can really just snowball out of control because that Morphling can't lane if he gets a horrible start.
Yeah, and looking at Evil Genius's lineup, I think you really have hit on where their weakness is going to be. They are going to be able to be bullied around in lane quite a bit, and this is a game that you could see get away from them a little bit if they're not on point with their movement, if their vision isn't very good in predicting Cloud9 and keeping an eye on very key heroes, especially the Bad Rider, his level 6 timing, his blink timing, and so on and so forth. I actually really like Cloud9's lineup a little bit better, I think, though. It's much more well-rounded. It's a lineup that does well in all phases of the game. Starting out, you can get ultra-aggressive aggressive with the Sacred Arrow and the Lasso combination. You're going to have Chin there just to keep you in fights that end up being a little bit elongated. Chin up against the Tide Hunters, very solid as well. Tide blows Ravage. You immediately blow your Hand of God, and you know that it's going to affect everyone that was caught by the Ravage. I feel like Cloud9's a little bit more well-rounded. Evil Geniuses being creative. I think they really just need a solid pick coming out for Fear with their last pick. Weaver is still there. Weaver, though, I still can't help but think it might leave them feeling a little bit thin.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. And also, Cloud9's lineup, as you were saying, it's more well-balanced. They have a lot of push in this lineup, obviously because of the Chen, but also the Luna Aura really makes them just be able to take down a tower early if they want to. And Evil Geniuses doesn't really have the heroes to react to a tower push. They have no spam whatsoever right now. They have a Nyx stun which can pull aggro on the creep wave. They can Brain Cyber something to pull aggro on the creep waves. But we don't see this normal heroes where we see like a Crystal Maiden Nova to pull the creep wave, nuke it down a little bit. And we do see the Shadow Demon coming out from Cloud9, which is an excellent pick because the Morphling images, if you get a disrupt on them, those images start hitting so hard because of the pure stats that Morphling has, as well as the lethal combo of the rotation from the Chen, Shadow Demon, and Potom.
I really like the fact that that's actually a good way to try and save someone who gets caught by, say, a Bane or something like that as well. So Bane, in this situation, can be prioritizing depending on how quick he is and what targets are caught out. The Bane will be looking most likely to land his Fiend's Grip on the Luna and perhaps use Sleep to disjoin Bad Rider, etc., etc., etc. Having that Shadow Demon to bail your Luna out matters so much, though, against this lineup. And being able to just, disjoint the fight for a second or two, allow yourselves to reset, get Chen in position, get Mirana in position, and initiate as well as counter-initiate. So, and also, obviously, an excellent roamer and a great setup from Mirana's Sacred Arrow.
Yeah, this was such a genius pick by Cloud9, to be completely honest with you. This Shadow Demon counters so many of the things that Evil Geniuses has. Like you were saying, they can roam really easily with it, with this Potom arrows and everything.
Wow.
And we do see another greedy pick coming out from them, and we see Zai going to be playing this Enigma on them. So I think we're going to probably see, we might even see Cloud9 go for some type of aggressive thing. They might go into this enemy jungle, get some wards down, not let this Enigma get his free farm. And then, yeah, and we do see Fear. Wow. Yeah, Fear is playing the Tidehunter, so it is a farming Tidehunter. So it is a pretty strong lane. The Bane Tidehunter, you can't punish it all that hard, and they do have this Enigma jungling, but if Cloud9 gets into those woods and puts those wards up quickly, Enigma has a very hard time jungling if he has to go to the enemy jungle.
I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. Who else is going to farm, though? I mean, that's the thing is Fear on this Tidehunter. I really want to see how they end up making this squad jive. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that they have mass amounts of AoE teamfight. And, as a play-by-play caster, I got a feeling I'm going to be yelling quite a lot whenever you've got Ravage and Black Hole as those big hype moments. But I don't know. Like, this is... it's easy to see how they want things to work. They're going to be so dependent on Arteezy for damage, though. Can you imagine if they're able to keep Arteezy down early on? I mean, Morphling takes a while to develop to begin with, and if they're able to slow him down, they're just going to be able to run over top of EG. Yeah,
and I feel like that's really what C9's going to do. They have the Shadow Demon Chen, amazing roaming combo, on top of the Shadow Demon with the Potom Arrow is something you really can't avoid. If you get caught by that disruption, you're going to die. There's no really way to get away from it unless you can really just have your waveform up and just get away in time. But if he doesn't have it, if they gank him at level 1 and he has this morph ability, he is so susceptible to a gank. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see them run into this woods and just try to get these wards down right away and maybe even see them go aggressive and try to punish this Tidehunter pick because EG's lineup, if you look at it, they really desperately need levels.
Yeah, I think an aggressive look coming out of C9 would make so much sense. Or, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a little baffled, and this is where I just have to defer to you, obviously, as the professional player. I mean, like, what, if any, is there some gimmick that we're all missing here, or is this really just as weird as it seems to be?
I mean, it's a pretty well-rounded lineup. They have a ton of team fight. If they can get through this early game, and they have all these spells, C9 is going to have a little bit of trouble team fighting unless they can get some really good pickoffs with this Bat Rider. But at the same time, C9 isn't really in too much of a rush. I don't know if they have to do this aggressive thing. They can really just have this Luna farming bottom with the Shadow Demon trying to get a couple levels, then rotate with the smoke gank, and they can even find a double kill without even needing the Chen to rotate too much with the Shadow Demon bottom.
Well, we're going to see both teams move out as 5, and it is going to be a beeline from Cloud9 heading into the Dire Side jungle. Going to be the same from EG, but as you mentioned with the Enigma pick out, this is a little bit more advantageous for C9 if they're able to get some good wards down and slow down his jungle game. Just as a secondary thought, one other issue I kind of have with EG's lineup and how it matches up with C9 is C9 has 3 heroes that fairly naturally build a BKB, Luna, Mirana, and the Bad Rider. That takes Ravage out of the equation in a big, big way, and you know, even Black Hole, even though it functions, you know, it's where's the follow-up? I mean, again, it's so all on the shoulders of Arteezy.
And overall, C9 has an amazing ganking lineup. They have the Potom with the, you know, obviously with the Moonlight Shadow. They have the Chen who can bring down towers, but then they, on top of that, with also more for ganking, they have the Bat Rider lasso and all this. So I'm not sure how I feel about this. Both teams do have the right idea, though. They both know, you know what, we're going to go ward these jungles, but I'd say that EG's wards in the Radiant jungle are a little bit more obvious than the wards that C9 put in the Dire jungle.
Yeah, I actually agree with you completely, and we'll see how the Enigma reacts. But for now, the horn has blown and the creeps have spawned. Game number 1 of our grand finals here at the Monster Energy Invitational at South by Southwest. Cloud9 taking on Evil Geniuses. Let's take a look at the lineups. Going to have Pylite Eye playing on our Shadow Demon, starting with C9. It's going to be Eternal Envy playing on the Luna once again here in this bottom lane. Sing Sing taking the Mirana mid. Chen going to be handled by AUI, and the Bad Rider going to be played by Demon out in that off lane. On the other side of the river, we've got PPD on Bane. Going to have the Tidehunter farmed by Fear, and this is something we're going to be keeping an eye on. Going to have the Nyx Assassin played by Universe in the jungle. Going to be Zai on the Enigma, and of course Morphling taken mid once again by Arteezy, who is already under some pressure as Sing Sing and Pylite die, making it so hard for him to get anything done. Here we go, follow up. Nope, they didn't even try to follow it up.
Yeah, but Zai actually knows that they warded his jungle, so you know what he's just going to do? He's just going to stay and dual lane this bottom lane and just not let Eternal Envy get this free farm. And Envy's really going to have a hard time farming versus this, of course, because of the Eidolons, but also they're going to pull this lane back very, very heavily. And he's going to be very, very risk because he does not have a support down near him. And we do see some rotation coming out of this Chen, so maybe we'll be seeing him go for this mid kill, and they really do want to bring a lot of action on Arteezy because they do see that he went for this Wraith Band first, and he's getting surrounded right now.
Oh, they mistimed the Centaur Stomp, arrows on the money though, didn't even need it. First blood goes to Sing Sing, and this is what this is the nightmare scenario. This is what you didn't want to have happen. They're so dependent on a good start from Arteezy, and less than 2 minutes in, hell, less than 90 seconds in, he's already back in the well.
Yeah, and he has only 1 CS on him, so it's not like last game where he did get killed and he was getting CS. Right now, he's getting completely shut down. And something else that PPD did that's really good is they blocked this side camp up in this top lane, so Demon cannot farm this big camp in the meantime if there's any downtime.
Speaking of Demon, living on the edge, literally on the edge of the map, but we'll be able to Firefly to safety in the meantime, soaking quite a good amount of experience. He's already level 3.5.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well for himself right now, and we're probably going to see him just go back and probably head toward the jungle and just try to get a couple stacks up and do it. And we do see Aoi having this creep in the bottom lane, just giving Envy a little bit of a hand, and while he's doing that, he's stacking the jungle for the Bat Rider. So he's sacrificing his experience a bit, but he's doing it just so that the Bat Rider can get a blink. And you know what? In this scenario, this Chen does not really need this many levels, nor too much farm. If they get this Bat Rider blink up, he's going to be such a nuisance on the map. Yeah.
And we can see Arteezy continues to struggle absolutely mightily. We're at 2.5 minutes in. He has every bit of 2 CS. To put that in perspective, he has as many CS as the Bane does right now.
Yeah, and this is what I was worried about from this early Morphling pick. C9 is not a team that you can just pull something greedy on them. They're like, you know what, you're going to pick a Morphling mid, we're going to dual lane you, good luck. You're not going to get anything out of this lane. And Sing Sing right now is doing great on CS. He's 10-5. Although Fear is doing a bit better with this Tidehunter right now, I'm giving this laning and everything. Yeah, it's a Tidehunter especially, but right now I'm giving this to C9. We see Envy getting gone on bottom right now.
Yep, was watching this on my side, and they actually, this started almost 3/4 of the way up this bottom lane, and they just pursued him out forever and ever and ever. Now AUI is going to be spotted out. Here come the creeps, and Zai going to have to eat his way through. Universe doing a little bit of auto attack damage, has a Carapace, and will go ahead and use it to secure his own escape. So ultra aggressive posturing out of EG here, and they are holding him down pretty well. He's got only 6 CS.
Yeah, but he's getting a ton of experience down there, so it's not too bad because he can recover later on. Luna does a great job of recovering in comparison to a Morphling. Yeah, they're just keeping so much pressure on Arteezy mid too. They're just keeping this dual lane the whole time. Even though Pylite Eye is backing up a little bit out of experience range to give Sing Sing a little bit more of that solo experience, Arteezy's just getting completely shut down. He has only 4 CS and he's nowhere even near his bottle.
Demon taking a little bit of harassment, will be caught with the Nightmare Fears right there, has 2 points in the Gush, 2 in the Anchor Smash. Will Anchor Smash him out, gushes him right off the bat. Do they have the auto attack damage? PPD right on top of him, gets him. So a nice kill for EG, bringing Demon down and slowing his item development down a little bit, putting him a little bit further from that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and I didn't really think that he was going to go back to that top lane, but I guess he felt confident once he got those Tranquil Boots that he would be able to lane up there. But I guess that's what happens once you play a little bit too cocky. But either way, he does have a ton of a ton of jungle stacks in his jungle to recover from. So it's not too bad for them at all getting that death up on Demon.
And we can still see the pressure is up on RTZ here in mid, continuing to hover Pile Die around. He's level almost 3 now. Sing Sing himself, he's level 5, 5.5. So even though this has been, for the most part, a duo lane, the experience gain is going to Mirana. Now they are going to rotate PPD and Zai down, at least momentarily, see if they can take some pressure off of poor RTZ.
Yeah, and Zai actually tried to make his way toward this jungle, but he still has those jungle camps blocked because C9 did not even care about having any lane wards or any rune wards. They put 2 observer wards blocking these 2 camps of EG's jungle. And
at bottom, the double damage rune helping EE farm a little bit, but still hanging around low. I mean, I guess that's the bright spot. I mean, when you look at how he stacks up against Morphling, RTZ still is a bit behind, sitting at 8, but Eternal Envy at 10, so they're both going to be slow developing. But again, the big issue is, and we keep talking about it, is that EG's all in on RTZ more or less. Whenever you look at Cloud9, they've got a lot of heroes who can make a lot of plays happen, and they don't necessarily have to have the most immaculate farm, even though Sing Sing is up near the top at 27.
Yeah, we do have Fear hitting level 6 pretty early in the game, and he's leading the CS board, and we do see him actually rotating, and he's going to be going for using this Ravage absolutely as early as possible. And Pile Die rotates top just to take some of that experience that Demon just isn't taking right now. And it looks like C9 actually knows this rotation is coming. They're playing very, very defensively.
And you know, this is a very important moment, even though it is early. Ravage so strong at level 6 in particular early on. If they're going to rotate him away, slow him down, and especially if they decide to expend the Ravage and go for a pure out-and-out dive here, they need it to work. This is not a lineup that can really suffer a lot of bad rotations or a lot of null gains whenever they decide to make these maneuvers. And yeah, he's going to hang around, but so far, very defensive posturing, as you said, from C9, and it's benefiting them quite a lot. They stay perfectly safe and end up wasting Fear's time.
Yeah, and in that time that he rotated, PG was actually a little bit up on in experience, and now C9 just pulled ahead because the Shadow Demon's getting solo experience top in the meantime.
And Mirana now level 6. They will have Moonlight Shadow to bank on if they want. We can see RTZ is beginning to do a little bit of damage, but taking so much in return.
He actually opted to go for the 2nd level Barrow instead of getting the Potom ulti at this point, so he's not too worried about them really getting dove or anything. They're not really worried about going for this like gank with this. They're just going to let Batrider get his blink up, and Batrider actually decided to go for a bottle before it, so he's got his level 6 up. He's just going to continue farming in the jungle for a bit and then just work his way to his blink dagger and just worried about that afterwards because they know they're really, really crippling RTZ right now. And yeah, EG's making the rotation right now and sending the Morphling toward top and putting Fear and PPD in the mid lane.
Yeah, they got to do something. The status quo not favoring them. And you can take a look. I mean, it's a very, very marginal lead in terms of pure out-and-out gold for C9. But again, they're just so well-rounded that, you know, if EG's going to get a lead, they need to start getting it in the next 5-10 minutes especially. And we're going to see a smoke now from AUI and Demon. Demon is level 6, has a lasso at his disposal. If they could pick off RTZ here, it would be absolutely gigantic, and this couldn't be timed any better. This is going to free up Envy as well. He's now solo at bottom up against just one other hero. That's going to be the Nyx Assassin, both soaking up a fair amount of experience. Demon now taking flight, trying to loop through the easy camp. Zai, a very good target if they can find him as well, and they will. There's the net to lead off from AUI. Flame Break tries to knock him back, and he's trying to hold on to his lasso. Finally does expend it, and that will secure the kill. Here comes Morphling looking for a little return damage. Don't know that he's going to be able to catch up. Has enough mana for a waveform if he wants to use it. There's Fear coming over to try to punish him. Ravage will be spent, and we'll catch them both. So Demon drops, and they get a return kill on AUI as well. And a little slow developing in that gank and their method of trying to get out. Cut off by Fear. Well played that time by EG.
Excellent movement by Fear there. PPD and Fear both reacted instantly when they saw this gank happen on top, and they just started rotating. And knowing that they could cut them off there was just perfect. And they got 2 kills out of it, so that actually ended up way more beneficial for EG there. And we can take a look a little bit, not really that big of a swing going on the gold graph or anything, because now Eternal Envy is having a lot of room to farm, and he does not go for this greedy Midas build or anything like this. He just picks up his treads right now.
Arrow eaten by Fear. It was tossed out here in mid by Sing Sing. Sing Sing now, with the rotations we've been seeing from EG, has taken to the top of the CS board, and he's just in great shape. He's got Phase Aquila up as well as a double damage room bottled up. And, you know, but I like, as you pointed out, how patient C9 is playing this. They're not pressing. They know their lineup is very well rounded, and really it's on EG to get the most out of this when they can. And Arteezy still with quite a long ways to go. And to put it in perspective, he is now doubled up by Sing Sing at 50 CS in exchange for his 30.
Dire's bottom tower
his
under
net worth
attack.
though is on the Morphling is tied with the Luna, so not too bad coming out of EG right now. It's a pretty even game, I'd say. And Chen right now, although he's been rotating and trying to do a lot in this game, he has found his level 5, and he does have 1,000 gold under his belt with his boots right now. Not arcane boots, just regular boots, but he will be able to decide which one he opts to go for, if he tries to go for the mech rush or just grab the arcane boots and then maybe go for a quick tower push bottom. And it looks like they might start to rotate and try to do something like that, going for a pick off and then just taking a quick tower by this.
Universe is going to get eyes on Pile Die. He's got Vendetta up. There's the Impale to follow, and immediately blown to pieces by Arteezy as he tallies yet another kill, and those are helping him immensely and getting him where he wants to be. He's actually number 3 in overall net worth now, with Fear in second position and the Luna a bit behind. And the arrow is going to be shot wide by Sing Sing. He has that double damage and will eat a gush as he turns around to get back with his team. But they might end up deciding to push this out now.
Yeah, they know Ravage is still down for a little bit of time because Envy always takes the timers for all these big spells. So they know they have a little bit of time window to push this tower down, and they will take this tower down probably for free because they know Vendetta was also blown, so they're not too worried about all of this. And we do see Morphling rotating down here, so they don't want to lose this tower completely for free. But Sing Sing does secure the last hit on it. And Demon is getting very, very close to his Blink Dagger. He's 300 gold away from it. He did a great job doing these jungle stacks and then moving his way toward the lanes, which were open for him to get some farm up.
Fear back here in mid does have Ravage up now. He's actually very close to his own Blink, only about 350 gold, give or take, about 400 actually. And big items coming out on both sides in that regard. We're now past 10.5 minutes, Fogged. Who do you think this early laning phase has benefited the most?
It's really, really even, to be completely honest with you. And Universe right now is going on Sing Sing. They might be able to get a pick up on him. Yeah, they do.
Fiend's Grip from the low ground, enough to lock him in place just long enough. And I'll tell you, EG, I was so worried about the way everything was working out for them. That's going to be the Blink Dagger now done on Fear. He didn't have to expend Ravage or anything crazy. This is their time to shine. I do still feel like their lineup has a bit of a shelf life, though. I feel like they need to really press the attack, and the next 10 minutes are going to be crucial for their status in the mid game.
Yeah, for sure. But the way that it's going right now, it's very, very good for them because Blink Dagger on Tidehunter is a great counter initiator. If the Batrider does lasso somebody, he's in a good position to ravage a couple heroes. So very early Blink coming out of this Tidehunter, and it's pretty damn scary.
And speaking of Envy, you know, we were talking about his sometimes unorthodox item choices. You know, in this situation, do you think this might be a time we see him actually go ahead and go straight BKB because of the presence of the Ravage and the Black Hole?
I think it's definitely a possibility. It's a little bit weird seeing him pick up this bottle, but that's something that Envy does like to do. He picks up this bottle on these short lane farmers when he's having a bit of trouble, just to make sure that he has something to heal up and he doesn't have to go back, so he can just keep getting experience and not have to miss out on anything, really. And I was actually expecting to see a lot more of these dual rotations coming out of this Chen and Shadow Demon, but not too much has really been happening out of these two. Paladai is just trying to find his experience and levels everywhere. And we do see Arteezy go for this Midas, and he gets it about at the same time as the last game.
Yeah, about 12 minutes in. Not a bad pickup whatsoever. And Cloud9 going to go ahead and try to press the attack and take the fight to EG as they smoke up. Sing Sing.
EG smokes up as well, so we have both teams smoked up. They're really looking for blood in this game, and it's perfect timing for both teams to smoke up and look for kills. They really need to be doing this right now. So
looks like Cloud9 not going to be too cutesy about it. They're going to show AUI has a little bit of bait here in mid, try to get someone in position. Here comes Demon. Demon might jump the gun a little bit as the rest of EG's hanging around. They're going to go ahead and go all in on PPD. They should be able to bring it down. No, there's a big Ravage from Fear. Catches the whole team. AUI's down now, and the rest of EG charging back. There's the Eclipse, though, and Zai unable to get off any follow-up Black Hole of value. EG came in, but this is what we were talking about. Where's the damage? Great Impale from Universe. Caught 3 of them, and Arteezy following it back up. That Impale absolutely essential as AUI tries to cover their retreat with these Centaurs. Ends up being a 2-for-3 trade, and Arteezy, after that Impale, Universe changed that fight. That 3-man Impale followed up with a double damage on the Morphling, and of course the waveform in allowed them to take a fairly decent exchange.
Yeah, they have so much burst potential on this EG lineup. PPD got caught out, unfortunately, and he didn't really get any spells off, but at the same time, Aoi also got caught off. He didn't get to get the hand of God off, which would have definitely saved most of his teammates in there. But also, Zai did end up using that hole for less than even a millisecond, really, because he just got blown up by the Eclipse by Eternal Envy.
Oh, yeah.
Top tower is under
and
attack.
that was actually in the middle of that fight, it seemed like they just didn't have the damage, but then you had the fight kind of reset again by such an unbelievably well-placed three-man impale from Universe, and that just gave Arteezy enough time to move in, get the damage done, and at this point he's not feeling super survivable. He has to choose kind of between damage and survivability just by morphing stats, and he has Waveform, of course. I mean, maxed out Waveform, has good damage on it, 325, and just that impale, though, allowed him to reset, get the damage they really, really needed. Doesn't look like C9, though, is going to shy away, and this is the right way for them to fight. EG, if nothing else, is unbelievably ultimate reliant and huge cooldowns on the two that matter the most. Still 50 seconds until Ravage is back up, a whopping 100 seconds until they have a black hole again.
Yeah, but Universe is playing. Universe and Fear both are playing just so well right now. Universe is on his way to his blink. Fear has his blink, of course, as we were saying before, and we've seen it. But these two heals...
Top, Arteezy in a lot of trouble. Demon right on top of him, burning him down. Arteezy has help from PPD, and he will be able to barely survive as Old Man Fear puts his chest out and makes sure his buddy gets back home safe.
Yeah, very smart play by C9, though. Backing up, not playing greedy, not going for the kill. And they don't want to risk losing any heroes here because they know right now the game is very even. We look at the gold graph right now, and it's actually dead even. But the XP graph is leading a bit for EG right now.
And up atop, return on Pile Die. PPD, and just basically holding him in place so Arteezy can seal the deal. And Arteezy benefiting a lot from these. In mid, though, they are likely to end up losing this Tier 1. 4-0 for Fear, by the way. 3-1 on Arteezy just here in the first 15 minutes. So the two they need to get farmed the most have been doing so, and doing so well. Universe, oh, what a well-timed carapace. Demon's going to go for it anyway, and Enigma actually still denied the tower, so well played there. Impale onto Demon. PPD's there to follow it up. There's the Brain Zap, and another big Ravage. Fear comes in behind the fight, catches Sing Sing and AUI. Sing Sing being pursued out, should be safe as we see the TP reaction of Pile Die. Actually, the arrow shot blindly. Could have followed up on that disruption. They're not going to need to. They've got Demonic Purge. Zai now fighting uphill. Fear already spent the Ravage, could do nothing. Come up and anchor smash a little bit. So EG, even though some good plays were made, they managed to deny the tower. Another good Ravage caught everyone. The follow-up simply wasn't there. They end up feeding the Enigma and the Morphling back.
Yeah, the Ravage did catch a couple people, but Hand of God was popped just before it hit. So that Hand of God actually saved the Bat Rider and saved all the rest of the people. So nobody ended up dying there. Ravage was used, and in the meantime, Eternal Envy somehow got a solo kill without even using Eclipse on Arteezy. I'm really not sure how that one happened. I totally missed it because I was watching this big mid-team fight. But I was about to say, too, that the missed gank up top by C9 there was actually kind of big because he just replicated back and was full healed. But then he just died to this solo Luna, and I'm really not too sure how that happened. And that's really going to benefit Eternal Envy massively as he decides to go for this greedy Helmet Dominator rather than rushing his BKB.
Yeah, and that was the big question we both kind of had there. I really thought it was going to be a BKB game for him, but you can read a lot from item choices like that as to the disposition of a whole team. Even though C9 right now trailing in kills, even though right now their gold is above 2,000 in their favor. So the last couple of exchanges going their way, and they're not done. They're going to continue to push towers here. They took the Tier 1 top, now putting some pressure onto the Tier 2 top. Here we go, though. Universe going to engage on a Pile Die and bring him down immediately. That should be enough to send our two animal-born ladies Huskurian.
Yeah, and Universe has just been making great plays. His rotations have just been almost perfect this entire game, and now he's going to be picking up his Blink Dagger or his Force Staff right now. And in the meantime, while that was happening top lane, Arteezy did net a kill on that bottom tower.
Arteezy continuing to put himself in as good a position as he can, has battled back admirably, and well, I mean, he's in the top 3 in total farm. He's only about 900 gold behind Sing Sing, who tops the board right now. Fear's still a little bit ahead of him, but more importantly, he's pretty well ahead. Check that, I thought that was 1,000 difference, actually about 250 difference between he and Eternal Envy. But, again, it's such a close game, and I feel like EG, to this point, has accomplished what they needed to, which is get the most out of these big ultimates early. Still, we're not seeing it translate to towers as well as they would like, I'm sure. We're beginning to see the map control shrink away just a little bit. Nothing but Tier 2 still standing for EG now. Yeah, very even game. The gold graph it's pretty even as well because of that tower that they just got in the engage, and the Universe getting that pick off on the Shadow Demon. Experience graph goes a little bit the way of EG, and we do see Bat Rider picking up his Force Staff, so relatively early, and that's really good for them getting ganks with this Bat Rider Potom combo. And we haven't really seen the Illusions or the Moonlight Shadow being used aggressively. We've been seeing them use it defensively so far in this game. And Eternal Envy is just going to slow down the pace of the game, go to the jungle, get a little bit of farm up, and Chen actually does find his mech at a reasonable timing after having to help his teammates so much in this game so far. And EG Now converging on top. Looks like they've got their eye on tier 1. We could have another big fight. The ultimates should be available. Black Hole absolutely is. They actually smoke up off of that. Blink, Ravage, still up for Fear. Arteezy, the one showing his face, he's going to run towards this tower and try to bait this out. Here comes Fear. Oh, Fear's actually the one that gets caught. Will they follow it up? And trying to grab him. No! Oh, PPD, what an unbelievable Fiend's Grip. Completely taking Demon out of that fight before he could lasso. And that's going to be the difference maker. However, they do rush into an Eclipse. That's going to net at least 1 return kill, and now PPD in some trouble. There's an arrow, just shoots south. Behind that, though, Fear once again using the Ravage into the Black Hole. AUI is down. Eternal Envy is cornered. PPD is going to drop in the meantime, but the big win for EG as they get the tower and manage to get a few kills to boot.
Yeah, a bit weird there. It looked like Demon hesitated a bit, and they caught vision of him because he cut down 1 extra tree. So PPD somehow got vision of him there and got a great Fiend's Grip off on him. So they did not have their Bat Rider lasso there, but EG did expend all of their ultimates there. So not the worst for C9, but obviously not good because they lost the tower and they got lost a couple heroes there as well.
But more importantly, Arteezy's still up and farming, and that's the thing is not only do they take that, they free up a little bit more space for him, and off of that, we can actually see he is #1 in net worth right now, up to 8,200, has his minus and his Aquila up. And I feel like Arteezy is really in a great position. And I was skeptical coming in. I mean, EG's lineup, we talked about it. The weaknesses it did have a small number of strengths in terms of what they could do so long as they executed early. And they absolutely have lived up to that.
Yeah, and this game is pretty even so far up to right now. I mean, towers right now, C9's leading by 1 tower. But Mirana does find his Maelstrom up, and Morphling is level 14 at this point already, the highest level in the game, and we do see EG going for another smoke gank right now, and they want to get Demon, and they're going to get him with that Carapace. Very well played by Universe right there.
Yep, free kill on Demon. The tier 1 already gone, so they're not going to be able to translate anything else out of that, but just being able to slow down and disjoint Cloud9, serving them very, very well. Now, Cloud9, they have to be feeling a little bit of a slight feeling of panic, if anything else, because EG is making this work so well. How do you negate what EG is doing so well at this stage of the game?
Well, they just need to get Luna some farm up, because right now she just has a Dominator and Tread, so she's very, very squishy and very, very susceptible to deaths in these team fights if she gets caught by nearly any of these stuns. They have the Nyx stun, they have the Fiend's Grip, they have the Ravage, they have the Black Hole, they have the Malefice, they have 100 different things to try to lock him down and just really blow him up, and they have so much burst potential on this EG lineup, so they really need to just try to get a couple pickoffs with his Bat Rider, have this Bat Rider not die in the places where he's been dying, farming in a very weird position, and just let this Luna farm up his BKB and then go towards some team fights. And yeah, we don't even see Envy going for the BKB either. They just want to go full greed. He's getting a Yasha up on this Luna, so he's just kind of, I'm really confused by that actually, but they do have the mech and the Chen heal, so they do have a good amount of survivability. We do see another smoke coming out of C9. They're trying to bring a lot of action while they know that the Black Hole is down, but Ravage did just come back up, and this Tidehunter is getting very close to a Shiva's Guard, which is going to be very early for him.
Smoking up through the jungle. Cloud9 trying to get a pick. Arteezy, a very appetizing target if they can make it happen. And they're going to pop Moonlight Shadow. Here comes Demon. Going to be able to get Fear. That's the target they have to get. Centaurs are right there to follow up. And Chainsaw, no, he got the Ravage off anyway. Cracking in through it. There's the disruption to try to follow this up. Arteezy, though, comes out of it and will be netted down after the Centaur stomp. So they do trade 2 for 1. EG now on the run. Universe in some trouble. Got off the Carapace. That'll buy him a little bit of time to retreat. Still taking damage. And Demon trying to help out. And he will be able to make it back and get mech'd up in time. So they end up getting Fear, but that's just what's so hard about trying to focus a Tidehunter like that. However, he did blow the Ravage. This is going to be a tier 2 brought down, but more importantly, Arteezy took a spill.
Yeah, and C9 benefiting from this so much because now they're going to get a tower up, and this was with Luna going for this Yasha build, so now he's able to just farm for a bit more. They're going to take a bit of the jungle from EG, not let them get this farm, trying to get just a little bit of bonus farm on them, and we do see that Arteezy did die, and he's going for this Linken's build, so he's going to be able to block this Bat Rider lasso, but the Bat Rider already does have the Force Staff to break it. And we do see C9 taking advantage of this time and putting up a couple aggressive wards.
Yeah, then that's going to be, I think, a big issue. With aggressive warning, the fact that they've now brought down the tier 2 top. Hang on.
Eternal Envy.
Yep. Universe going to hit him with the Impale after the Vendetta. Fear's right there to follow it up, and no. not liking what they saw. And I wonder why. I mean, obviously they didn't know what was going to be going on naked uphill, but I guess fearing the Eclipse and maybe any kind of a response from any other heroes that might have been in the vicinity.
Yeah, very patient. That was a bit strange. There was nobody actually near him to save him, so that would have been quite a free kill for EG there, but they did lose vision of him right there up on that hill, so they were a bit scared just to chase up there and didn't want to risk running into the Eclipse and just getting 2 people dead with the Ravage down.
Yep. And yeah, like you said, patience is the word. It's why it looks so weird. It's so hard to draw yourself back in a situation like that where you think you might be able to get such a very valuable kill. But anyway, taking a look at the item progression of Sing Sing, he's actually picked himself up a Mjolnir.
So yeah, he's dishing out a lot of damage. That item is pretty absurd with how much damage it really dishes out. And it's a very good item to use versus Morphling, because Morphling has a ton of armor already built in this hero because of how much agility he does gain, and of course the Morph. So Lightning just is, of course, magical damage, so you don't really have to worry about the armor blocking it. And yeah, we see C9 walking right into EG's jungle and taking their farm, trying to limit what they can really get because they got this top tower, they got this mid tower down, and they have control of the map right now.
The ultimates are off cooldown now for EG. Is this a situation where they want to take the fight to C9?
It could be a possibility, but I don't think so. They do want to get Zai up with his BKB so he doesn't have to risk anything and he can just get a free black hole off. But in the meantime, also, it looks like they're going to try to go for a Roshan here. We do see a disconnect coming out.
Big disconnect on a couple of machines, and very quickly responded to. And a pause up right now. We're at 15 to 10, 25 kills total in a 24-minute, 41-second game. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see it is slightly in favor of C9, plus 1,500.
Swinging up and down, though.
Yeah, it looks like an EKG, brother.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, this is, I don't think that we could ask for better out of a game 1 for a tournament like this. I mean, a lot of, it looks like the headphones are actually some kind of failure with those, so we're going to be working on getting those replaced and that issue fixed as quickly as possible. I'm sure our team on the stage already on it, and they're reporting that to me. If they're reporting it to me that quickly, that means they've identified it and it should be lined out momentarily. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we can ask for better. We're seeing, we saw an unorthodox draft. I don't think anyone would have said, oh yeah, in this series, I'm sure we'll see Fear Farm a Tidehunter. That's just, you know, what we're going to see. And, you know, we're seeing something different out of both sides, but I still think we're seeing phenomenal play. And both teams really just being true to themselves and doing, executing their own game plans right in the face of each other.
Yeah, and so far, Universe has had an absolutely spectacular game from him. He's finding picks all over the place. He's using this Nyx Assassin Ultimate just so well, and he's gotten a lot of kills, and we do see a weird, some strange stuff coming out, though, but it's very interesting. I'm glad to be seeing this happening because, you know what, this is a game 1 of up to 5 games, so we could be seeing really anything coming out of both of these teams right now.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, that's something, you know, as we wait for everything to get resolved on the stage, you know, just to throw it to you again as a guy who's certainly no stranger to big stages and lands and so on and so forth. You know, coming into a grand final or a very late match, say, you know, a semifinal or whatever, you know, how much oomph or onus or attention do you put on maintaining some pocket strats, on saying, okay, we can run this early if we need to, but we're going to try and really come out and surprise someone in a big match like this?
We tend to see these pocket strats coming out of more of these like best of ones games, but we do see EG grabbing this very unorthodox lineup and very unorthodox lanes, of course, having Fear farming this Tidehunter. So I don't know how I really feel about the pocket strats, but if you want to say it, this is one of them. So it's pretty good, and we do see the Shadow Demon being played for the first time in this tournament, and outstanding pick, I would say, in this overall versus this EG lineup. Yeah, I mean,
I can't agree with you more. I mean, like you said, it's not just that he does one thing well. I mean, very often you'll see a Shadow Demon picked as a counter to a Nyx or something like that. But, you know, it just works so well, setting up the Moran arrow, as we talked about, being able to bail out a Luna, and especially with Luna skipping BKB, Eternal Envy, just saying the hell with it. I don't need Magic Immunity. I'll just run real fast and dominate creeps. That's what we do. But, you know, it is interesting, and this is something that you actually used to see Loda do going back to Alliance. And I'm not saying this is necessarily like they had this jotted down on a legal pad somewhere as something they really wanted to focus on. But you can build Luna this way and then end up going with something like a Satanic. And then if she gets stunned or if she gets focused, Shadow Demon immediately disrupts her. She comes back out and pops her Satanic immediately.
Yeah, exactly. But also the Shadow Demon as well versus Morphling. The later the game goes on, if he gets a good disrupt on this Morphling, those images actually do so much damage because it's 70% damage for 2 illusions of a hero that just has an insane amount of agility and stats. So those illusions start hitting so hard.
And as we continue to wait, did get a little bit of a notification in the ear that everything seems to be okay, just a matter of making sure everything's squared away before we're ready to resume. And yeah, just got to notice that we may go to a break just in case, but we'll give it a couple of minutes extra. Want to thank everyone once again for tuning in. If you've just joined us, you are tuned into game number 1 of our best of 5 finals here at the South by Southwest Monster Energy Invitational presented by Logitech. It's been a hell of a tournament so far, and you know, EG and C9, let's be honest, kind of chalk. These are the two teams that we expected to see here, and they ran into each other in the upper bracket once. This is a run-back match, so second time they've seen themselves or seen each other in this tournament, and I feel like both teams benefited from that. I feel like both teams have a very good read on each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But C9 has overall, I'm just really glad to be seeing EG react to the way that C9 was playing yesterday. They didn't let them just lose this early game. EG did not let themselves lose the early game and just get taken over. They picked these very strong heroes that have very big ultimates and everything. So just overall, great play by EG and great play by C9, and I'm just very excited to be seeing this game go on.
So just got the notification that there is going to be a hardware replacement just as a safety precaution. You know, instead of taking something that might not be working 100% properly, we're just going to flat out switch it out. So we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Once again, you're tuned into the Monster Energy Invitational live at South by Southwest. And though the game's still paused, it looks like the issues are more or less resolved. Just letting everyone reset, double check everything. And yeah, we're going to be immediately back underway. And yeah, here in the pit, we could see EG going to work on the big guy himself. Cloud9 not really in a position to try to respond. Sing Sing's going to be there. They are going to be teleporting one in, but this Roche is going down fairly quickly with the help of those Eidolons coming out from Zai. They're going to get this for free, Fogged.
Yeah, that was a great sneak there by EG. They saw C9 was not really in a position to defend that, and even though they kind of knew that they were doing, we saw the line drew from Demon all the way to this. They weren't able to get there in time, and we do see all of C9 now smoke up.
That haste rune popped on the Bat Runner, going to go and immediately grab Zai, dragging him back right into the thick of things. He's picked off. No chance for response now, so with him down for about 43 seconds, they might decide to pressure this tier 2.
Right back into the action. I like that. I love when there's a kill right after a pause like that. And we do see that C9 also has some aggressive ward, so they do see that EG's jungle, so they should know that EG is on this right side. And yeah, they're playing very far on the left side, playing very, very carefully right now.
Just coming in, bringing down those Centaurs. Arrow will end up missing everything. However, we're going to see an impale from Universe. Force Staff gets AUI back to a safe distance. Here comes Fear. Was looking for a Ravage, held off on it though. They are going to use the Moonlight Shadow to cover their escape. Sentry goes down. They will be able to find one of those wards. But other than that, the rest of Cloud9 able to make it away safely.
And Pi is in a very, very weird position right now, but he blinks away and he's getting out of there. But it looks like they might have seen that. And yeah, Universe did see it, but the stun is off the mark just by a little bit. But there are TP reactions getting there in time, and Zai's going to catch him with that stun.
Yep, catches him with the Malefice. He's going to spin the Demonic Purge. Universe missed with his initial stun, but will be there along with PPD and Zai to get a return kill. So 16-11, 26 minutes in, still fairly early on in this game. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see an immediate fall off, bringing this gold lead back down almost to nil, and the experience actually now moving in favor of EG once again.
Yeah, that Roshan gave him a lot right now. And in the meantime, Arteezy's getting a lot caught up in this game. He's got his Lincolns finished up. He's in the top of the net worth, and he has another 2,000 gold in him, as well as being the highest level in the game at level 17 right now.
He absolutely has been doing a lot of work to get himself caught up. Having an Aegis and a Lincolns, I think EG might be looking to get fairly aggressive sometime soon. The Blink Dagger pickup on the Shadow Demon, we were talking about that during the break. Such a smart pickup for Cloud9.
Yeah, for sure. And we do see Envy going for his BKB now, and we see a weird glyph coming out from C9 now. I'm not sure why they used that. Must have been accidental, but we also see Tidehunter finishing up his Shivas now. So he does have Blink and Shivas, and we will probably see him go toward the Refreshers, which is very terrifying, especially if they are getting into a big team fight.
Well, and especially since Envy did decide to skip on the... no, he actually does have his BKB up. So Envy with the BKB, Magic Immunity, ready to go. They're going to be pressuring this tier 1. No glyph. The Eidolon will end up eating the Sacred Arrow. EG takes that tower down. Looks like they're going to go ahead and head south. And, yep, there's going to be the Blink Gush onto the Centaur. Not committing into a big fight, but just taking what little extra they can. However, there's going to be a lasso from Demon, dragging back Universe, and he's going to be cleaned up. EG has to be careful, and the Arrow not able to catch anyone. They are trying to pursue out Zai. Looks like they're just going to slow down and look to counter push now as the rest of EG retreats right by the Roche pit.
Yeah, and C9 does have a little bit more map advantage still at this point because they do have these towers. They have this tier 2 top taken out very, very early in the game, so they will probably just continue going into the EG jungle, farming that up, not letting them be able to farm that at least, and then just trying to strangle them a little bit and not let them farm all over the map. But Arteezy is doing a great job of finding his farm. He has his Eagle Song picked up now, so we will probably be seeing this shotgun build. And that shotgun is always so scary. Even if you end up getting a BKB on one of your carries, if he gets that shotgun off right before your BKB gets popped, you get dropped below half health, maybe even more critical than that.
Well, you know, we've spent a lot of the game in reference to that shotgun build, talking about the value of the supporting cast of C9, the Shadow Demon and AUI in particular. And, you know, being able to burst one of those heroes down out of a fight if they happen to get even a little bit out of position really does hurt C9 and the way that they want to synergize their heroes in these bigger team fights, whereas EG has the comfort of AoE. They have big AoE, of course, in the Ravage and as well in the Black Hole. And waveform damage coming out of Arteezy. He is getting quite built. He's hitting for an excess of 200 damage now with his current build of 1,000 health going with him. He still has that Aegis, as you mentioned, the shotgun coming out very soon. EG has made this lineup work for them so well.
Yeah, and they want to just keep bringing the action. They have all their ultimates up except for the Vendetta, so they want to just go right now and try to take another tower in the meantime, trying to get a bit more of a lead, and yeah, just forcing Luna to use some BKB charges. And we do see a Mirana ultimate coming out, and let's see what they decide to do with it. They do decide to grab Fear.
Fear lassoed back, brought back, got the Ravage off though, managed to catch 3 of them with it. Now the follow-up coming out, Universe hit the Impale, and the rest of Cloud9 helping to restabilize. They still have the Black Hole at their usage if they want to. They're going to get Universe on the back end of that and pop the Aegis off of Arteezy. PPD and Zyre still hanging around. Looks like C9, yeah, not wanting to overcommit on the return kill, or on the second kill on Arteezy. Still eating a fair amount of damage. Ooh, Pi blinked on top of him. Almost had a chance to get the disruption off. They're still pursuing this out. Zai and PPD going to head back towards the river, but a beautifully shot arrow from Sing Sing. Going to force the engagement and the disruption onto the Enigma, preventing the Black Hole. Arteezy still up though, but canceled out of it. The BKB not enough to keep him up and going. As PPD, the next to drop, that's 4-4-0.
Such a beautifully engaged team fight the way C9 just did this. They pulled the Tidehunter knowing that he's going to have to blow the Ravage right after they pull him into this, but not much of EG's team was really in the position to get anything to follow up. The Enigma does not have a Blink Dagger. He opted for this BKB, and even though he did land a pretty decent BKB Black Hole there, Aoi with a beautiful net instantly stopping it, so there was no real potential coming out of that hole. And they just really benefited so much from that. Even though EG looked like they were doing a good job getting this tower down, C9 just played it so smartly. None of them died there, and they just got 2, even 3 kills and a kill, almost a kill on the Morphling.
Yeah, that was very nearly a big return wipe. And, you know, that coming back to what you had said about AUI's play, I mean, that's something we really didn't even touch on at all, talking about ways they can disjoint EG's chain of initiation. And when you're so ultimate reliant, you have to have those 3 big ultimates up and ready to work together all at once. And if one of them is interrupted, it can totally swing a fight. And that's what we saw. AUI, the chin pick, working out great as a counter to Enigma, and certainly saving what could have been a very bad situation there. We're all knotted up. 16 kills apiece, 32 in 32 minutes. Split right down the middle. Look at the gold graph. Dead even.
Yeah, really well done. But the experience graph is leading a little bit for C9. And Demon, although he is not having the greatest game on this Batrider, he has found his BKB already. So he's going to be able to have some free reign on grabbing these lassos, not having to worry about the Nyx Carapace. And Universe is going to get picked off here if they can bring him down to this low hill. But they do get the arrow on him, and they bring him down. So very well played by Demon and by the follow-up by Sing Sing.
Good kill. He's down for 40 seconds now. The tier 2 still standing in mid. That might not be the case in about 30 seconds as Cloud9 has hooked up and are now pushing through. The rest of EG setting up shop here in the jungle. And yeah, I don't think they're even going to try to contest this.
Yeah, they do have the Ravage up, but they know that the C9 knows that the Black Hole is down. So they're pretty confident in the fact that they can just push this. And we do see another item flying out for Eternal Envy right now, and it is his Manta style. So Envy is getting a pretty solid amount of farm. If he finds this Satanic up, it's going to be pretty hard for EG to really bring him down unless they blow a lot of abilities just on him, thanks to the Chen heal and the mech heal, as well as all the items that he does have under his belt right now.
Less than 3,000 gold even until he gets that Satanic up. And like you said, he's looking really, really good. And with the BKBs up and the fact that C9 has seemed to be doing a better job of managing the Ravages coming out of Fear, this has got to be a little bit, there's got to be a sense of urgency right now for EG. I mean, Morphling is in good shape. Has up his F-Blade, has up his Lincoln Sphere, of course. But where do you go from here? They're so, again, and we talked about this all through the draft, they're becoming so reliant on him that if he's controlled at all, if he's brought down at all, as good as the ultimates are, it's just not enough by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually don't see the Tidehunter going for this refreshers that I was saying. He's going to go for the pipe. So this is a much better build in my opinion, because then they're going to have a lot harder time bringing him down, and maybe it'll bring enough time for his teammates to be able to come in and just give him the backup that he really, really desperately needed when he's been getting lassoed like this and getting a pretty damn good Ravage off on 3 or 4 heroes, but just having no follow-up in time.
Yeah, I love that pipe pickup as well. You're 100% right. And just, you know, tanking Fear up and helping the, I mean, just such great team fight abilities. And that's really where EG's bread and butter has to be over the next few minutes. But we are getting late and getting very, very late for EG. Again, the Morphling, a great late game hero, but the Shadow Demon, pretty much, I mean, and you've talked about it extensively throughout the match. You know, the bigger that Morphling gets, the bigger his illusions are going to be.
Yeah, and we see Sing Sing actually pick up a BKB too on this bottom, so he doesn't want to get hit by this Ravage either. And they're going to have a lot of BKBs coming out for C9. They do not want this Ravage or any of these spells just to be nailing them nonstop. And the pipe is actually pretty far off. He's still about 1,300 gold away from it, so we're not going to be seeing that coming out too fast because Fear's farm has really, really dwindled in the past couple minutes of this game. He was leading the CS and the net worth board for quite a while, and now he's actually sitting 4th on the net worth. So.
And Roche has respawned in the meantime. Back up. Both teams kind of staying apart for a little while, but this is in a lot of ways that nightmare situation we were talking about during the draft. I mean, you have 3 heroes during that draft that were natural BKB carriers on the side of C9. It was a question of could they get them up in time, and I think they have, having it on the Bat Rider, on the Luna, and of course now on Sing Sing. Sing Sing, by the way, has played a great game of Dota. His arrows, for the most part, have been on the money. He's 4-2-7, 6-2 for Eternal Envy. Another great outing from him as well. Demon did struggle some early, and even though his box score doesn't reflect it, he's really brought it together over the last 10 minutes or so. His lassos have been good, and the way that they're abusing the lasso. Again, the spreads whenever they lasso Fear to make sure the, oh, hang on. Ooh, I thought he was going to head south and maybe catch Artur, but
yeah, I saw that as well.
We'll make it back.
Does have a replicate up in the meantime, and he does have a lot of gold in his bank, and he's farming pretty damn hard. He's got another 3,000 gold under his belt. He's level 19 on this Morphling, so he's going to be max level pretty soon, which is good, but at the same time also bad, because that means his respawn time is ridiculously long.
And to be honest right now, is it just me or does it seem like EG's basically dodging fights?
Yeah, for some reason it doesn't, I mean, I don't mean for some reason, but they don't really want to be fighting it. They really want to get this Blink Dagger up on Zai, I'm pretty sure, and finish up the pipe on Fear, and just then they'll be able to fight these team fights more. But we do see C9 moving into this Roche bit and trying to sneak a Roche on right now, because they know that they countered all of the wards out of EG with this gem that Aoi picked up a bit ago.
EG is withdrawing now, and they're going back to base. This is going to be a free Roshan for C9. And this is going to put them in such a good position. They're going to be able to just now push down bottom lane if they want, take a free tier 2 and clear the map entirely of map control for EG, or they can just go ahead and rush down mid and go, you know what, we've got 3 BKBs up, our Luna is feeling large and in charge, and hell, they just started a DD as well. And yeah, this game is totally in their control right now. EG is going to have to hold serve.
Yeah, this is going to be, they're definitely going to try to break high ground with this DD rune and having this Aegis up on the Luna, and he does have his Satanic finished. It's coming out on the courier, so they're going to wait for that before they really just try to break the high ground. But Sing Sing's just going to shoot a random arrow, just get some harassment out on them, but it doesn't hit anybody, so. And we do see, Demon actually lassos the Replicate, so really well played by Arteezy there, sending that Replicate out now. And he did pop his BKB also while doing that, so now C9's going to have to back up and just wait until that BKB and that lasso's up. They're going to probably move into the EG jungle and just take this farm away from EG and just leave EG crippled in their base. But Arteezy in the meantime is finding his farm in the other lanes, and he is picking up another ultimate orb. So either it's going to be a Manta style or a Skady.
And as you had mentioned, Arteezy really in good shape so far as farm, and he's really taking advantage of the replicates, and like you said, being able to bait out that lasso, buying even more time. And it's going to be Pylai Dai actually bringing down the majority of this farm at bottom, and here comes Eternal Envy, and he's going to be spotted by Arteezy. And yeah, he's going to move ahead and just shotgun him down for a vast majority of health. However, after that, just going to go ahead and head back out. So EG doing a great job off of that costly mistake from Demon of now just reasserting themselves on the map.
Yeah, now they do, I believe, no, they're not quite at the pipe, but he did decide to go for the Manta style on the Morphling. And we do see Pylai Dai farming up in this bottom lane. He's going to be going for a BKB as well. So he's going to be in a good position to just walk up. He doesn't have to worry about the Ravage, and he can be just this really aggressive position and try to get these images out of this Morphling, which I'm pretty sure is what he's going to shoot for.
4 BKBs up against this lineup that EG has drafted, it's a bad scenario to be in. They do have, of course, Fiend's Grip that does go through BKB that they can spend on something, on whatever they think is the higher priority. Coming into these fights, what do you think will be the priority of PPD?
He has landed a few decent Fiend's Grips, but as for afterwards, after that one Fiend's Grip up on Batrider in this top lane, he hasn't really had too much of a presence on this game. It's really hard for him to do that because of the great gank potential that C9 has, and it looks like they're actually going for somebody right now, and they might be able to grab Fear here, and they do.
Fear gets off the Shivas first, and the Eclipse doing good damage. Fear trying to hang on to the Ravage. He's knocked back by a well-placed Flame Break, and he's down now. Down for 60 seconds. Not sure if he has buyback. He does not.
He just spent his gold, actually, before he was dying, I believe.
Yep.
I'm not really too sure where the item is, though. It doesn't show it anywhere. And he does get a great disruption on this Luna now, so they have a couple images up, and Arteezy actually gets slapped from that, so, but they're just going to right-click the tower. Wow, look at the Glaives do all that damage on that Morphling.
Yep. Arrow shot, not going to find anything, but right now, with that Tidehunter down, feeling pretty susceptible. Satanic is done on Eternal Envy, still has that Aegis up as well. They're going to back up, grab a creep wave. Now there's an Alpha Wolf here as well for AUI, so don't forget, that's going to be a fair bonus to damage. And just going to go ahead and go right for the Satanic as look at him just fill back up. Now the shotgun though, Universe hits him and burns him down with the Mana Burn, and Arteezy able to pop that Aegis. Now Satanic has already been used. PPD waiting on the high ground, thought he might try to go for the grip. But so far, in Fear's absence, EG doing a phenomenal job of keeping this Tier 3 standing.
Yeah, C9, I guess, didn't really realize at first that they didn't have any creeps in there, so that was actually them wailing on backdoor protection for a bit. And they actually just lost that Aegis for almost nothing, but it was going to be expiring quite soon. So now they're just going to back up, get some farm up, and now we're looking at the map. It looks pretty dark for both teams. There's actually 0 wards up, and C9 wasted a ward. They put Winona up on this hill, which got countered instantly by the tower. EG roaming together as 5 right now, not wanting to get picked off at all. C9 splitting up their farm all over the place. Eternal Envy pushing out this top lane as much as possible in the meantime.
And Artur, Manta style up, another 1,900 gold tucked away. We're getting to that phase of the game now where gold management's going to be a big deal. In fact, EG played very well to keep that Tier 3 up when Fear did not have buyback. As you said, he had just spent the majority of his gold. And they were able to dodge that bullet pretty well. PPD looking to get himself a 4-staff. We'll find an Invis rune as well. And this might be EG's moment to try to get aggressive. Taking a look at the gold graph, it is still, I mean, at 40 minutes in, 4,000 gold, not the biggest deal, but still a lead in favor of Cloud9. But Cloud9 has come up wanting the last couple of times they tried to make something happen on the other side of the map. And I love this decision from EG to try and get aggressive and take the fight to them instead.
Yeah, and even though they do have a lot of BKBs up on C9, the Morphling obviously does so much damage through that, and if he gets the Ethereal Blade, like I was saying before, and he gets the shotgun up on somebody quick enough, they can't really pop that BKB, and he can either kill them or get them very, very low. And that's why Highlight Die actually decided to go for this Blink Dagger, so he can play in a very, very defensive position and just blink up and disrupt somebody who gets gone on.
Both teams very nearby here in this mid lane.
Yeah, and Universe has actually quieted down a lot after all the BKBs were picked up by C9. He was doing some really great impales. We saw this triple impale mid that has brought this game basically in back for EG, but now slowed down a lot. Not too much really happening coming out of him and PPD, or really Zai. Zai's just hanging on to his black hole all the time, but he did finally pick up his Blink Dagger as well as his BKB, so we'll be seeing hopefully a very big hole, but Aoi making sure to have this Dark Troll Summoner near them at all times, just in case.
And they're going to have a chance to maybe, yep, Arteezy very wise to get out of dodge as quickly as he could with the waveform. EG once again tucked back up under their tower as Cloud9 takes their jungle away. We see one of AUI's creeps helping out down in bottom to make sure that lane doesn't push any harder than it already is. And once again, Cloud9 going to play patient. They were in a position to maybe try to make something happen. After the Firefly was spent by Demon, though, they decide to go ahead and retreat back to their own side of the river. That gives enough time, though, for Shadow Demon, played by Pylai Dai. He finishes his own BKB. So that's 4 magic immune heroes now that EG is going to have to cope with.
Yeah, and C9 seems like they're pretty confident in taking this into the late game. I know that Demon really likes to build this Refresher on Batrider, so I'm assuming he will be seeing that coming out of him, if it's not a Sheepstick, and that'll be really, really interesting to see. And it looks like Arteezy's going down bottom to look for some aggressive farm, but he might actually get found here. But no, he's just playing it very careful. He heard them doing the Shadow Poison there, so he just gets the hell out of there and doesn't want to risk anything there. But the later this game goes, I have to kind of give it to C9 unless EG can land some huge ultimates. A huge Black Hole and a huge Ravage could really change the turn of the game. But they do have this Luna farming very, very hard on C9, as well as Potom. He's dishing out a good amount of damage. He's got Mjolnir, BKB. He has another DD in his bottle, which is Demon's bottle. and he has another almost 4,000 gold on him, while Luna also is about to finish up his butterfly. So looking pretty good for C9 right now if they can just keep doing this, keep choking out EG, making them play very, very scared since Universe has not really been able to farm. You actually have been seeing majority of the EG's heroes just been trapped in basically in this area of the map for a good 15 minutes or so. So RTZ is the only one farming out of all of this. And it looks like RTZ is picking up another item pretty soon. Yeah, it's going to be that Scotty. He has both ultimate orbs on the courier. So if they do find a pick off on RTZ, he's not going to have a buyback for this next occasion.
Yeah, and we've seen that be RTZ's biggest issue, you know, especially on the Morphling. Sometimes he gets a little over-aggressive. And we saw a couple of big moments like that in our first series of the day. But right now, both teams playing very cautiously. I really did like it just because of what you had said, the fact that EG have been tucked in almost entirely into this area of the map when they ventured out. But even now, getting away from that a little bit, Cloud9 doing a pretty good job of keeping tabs on most corners of the map. We do see they have a ward down right here in mid lane, so that's one area they can keep an eye on. But EG also watching their own jungle very, very carefully. We're going to see Roche respawning sometime soon. Scotty, the pickup now on the Morphling. So he's getting more and more deadly, and he's going to be more and more difficult to bring down. It will be a fairly long Roshan timer, though. 2 minutes, 40 seconds.
Yeah. And although RTZ is very, very farmed, like I was saying before, if this Shadow Demon can get the illusions up of that Morphling, those are going to hit so hard. But he doesn't even need to do that. He can just use the disruption, of course, on the Luna. And Luna is also hitting pretty damn hard as well. So he doesn't have to do that. But if he does, it would be huge. And we do see EG smoking up and looking for something that they can do right here.
Oh, they're going to go right on Sing Sing. Blown up. Fear even uses the Ravage. Didn't need to. There was really no one else around he could have caught. But just knowing what a high-value pick that would be, Sing Sing does have buyback. And they're going to rush down this Tier 2 mid. The rest of Cloud9 looping around through their own secret shop, and EG anticipates that as they head to the north now, trying to catch them. And they're going to be able to catch, once again, Eternal Envy. Envy trying to trade even. And here we go. Zai's right there with him. Black Hole going to catch him out. And they just can't finish him, though. AUI now in some trouble finally. They clean up shop as Luna ends up dropping along with AUI. Demon hung towards the back there. Ooh, Universe actually had eyes on him. Tried to grab him there out. However, Sing Sing, look at him after the buyback, spotted out in the woods, and this is a big, big turnaround as RTZ tallies a triple kill, and now this is their tower for the taking. Concerning buybacks, there's no more for Sing Sing, none for the Luna. That's a solid minute before those two heroes are back on the board. This is going to be not just a Tier 2, very likely a Tier 3.
Yeah, and C9 really got caught with their pants down there at that moment. It's the best way I can put that. Like, our Sing Sing was farming very, very up far, and he got caught by that Ethereal Blade and just blown up so quickly as you saw. And then he bought out, and he leaped into the trees, and now Demon's actually going to get blown up as well.
Yep. And this is looking very, very scary. The Tier 2 dropped very quickly. The Tier 3 going down just as quickly. And RTZ, of course, has to keep an eye on his health. They are going to use the glyph. There's the mech, though, to get him back in the fighting shape. Still another half a minute, 30 seconds or so, until Luna and Mirana rejoin this battle. And we can see Universe leading with the Chin. They're going to go right to the racks now. Artur focusing down the melee racks. Ranged racks being hit by Fear. And this is going to be a huge turning point in this game. And, you know, we knew that whenever it came to their opportunities of capitalizing, when they spin those ultimates, they had to get very good gains out of it, and this is certainly falls into that category. In fact, they're going right now to the Tier 3 bottom. Here we go. There's a disruption onto, oh, it was actually an illusion, and they're going to be able to clean up Eternal Envy again. Way too far forward. Yeah, that's it.
There's nothing they can really do without their hard carry there. Even though Sing Sing's up, that Luna has a majority of their farm, and yeah, they're going to take out all the racks if they don't even just go for the end of the game right now, because they do not have this top tower. So if they want to, they're just going to have to go for these towers, or they can just play it safe. And it looks like they are just going to play it safe, which is a little bit strange, but they're going to go toward this Roshan, who is spawned up, and that is a cheese and an Aegis. So this is really looking heavily in favor of EG right now. Morphling picks up his Boots of Travels now on the courier, and he has another 3,000 gold, so he's going to be able to buy another item pretty soon, and I'm assuming it's going to be a butterfly.
5,000 gold erased in the blink of an eye if you take a look at your gold graph. This has completely turned around in favor of Evil Geniuses. This is going to be not just an Aegis, but cheese as well. RTZ, absolutely gigantic. Has up his Boots of Travel, Scotty, Ethereal Blade, Manta, and pretty much on his way to being 6-slotted.
Yeah, the way the graph just shows how much that really meant. It just goes from 5,000 lead to C9 now to well over 7,500 lead to EG. So that was an over 15,000 gold turnaround and a massive experience change as well. Even though the Morphling is basically, yeah, he's about to be level 25. It's just not looking good for C9 now after that. It was just really unfortunate to get Sing Sing picked off there. Even though the Ravage was used on Sing Sing in the beginning over there, it didn't matter. They just found the rest of them near that secret shop and just really benefited them. Great plays from EG.
Yeah, they just anticipated that movement coming through that secret shop. And we saw them bend around and try to get some kind of an angle, maybe to delay, maybe to just scare them. If Demon could have got a pick, who knows what happens, especially when you know that Ravage is down on Fear. But they anticipated it, and they got the job done. And now Arteezy with an Invis rune looking for a target. And came very close. He's going to end up popping the smoke. Oh, there it is. Sing Sing revealed from it. And it's pinged down, and Sing Sing blown up immediately and manages
to replicate
make it
right away.
Yep. So a very nice play from him. And hooks back up with his team up in top lane. Sing Sing down once again, 56 seconds, and has no buyback.
Oh, man, and he forced Pilot Knight to pop his BKB there, because Pilot Knight does have 1,300 health, but that Adaptive Strike is just hitting so hard at this point in the game with the amount of agility that this Morphling has on him.
Here we go. Last tier 3, last set of remaining racks. It's going to be Envy by himself trying to defend this. They're going to send out the Flame Break. Pipe has been popped, though. Envy doing what he can. There's Universe going to catch him with the Impale, trying to follow up. There's a Disruption. Very good defensive Disruption. They're going to reset off of that. BKB up. Satanic is going to be active, but PPD with the point-blank Fiend's Grip. Nothing they could do to disjoin it. Demon was hanging around, but oh, he popped it on the Leakins. Popped his lasso on the Leakins, and GG is called.
Yeah, and that was just really good teamwork right there. PPD gets the Fiend's Grip off, and in the meantime, Zai just blinks and black holes the other two heroes that were able to break the Fiend's Grip. And yeah, on top of all of that, PPD just had a great game as well afterwards, after we were saying he didn't really have the most Fiend's Grip, but he had one really big one toward this top lane. This game looked mostly in favor of C9, but one big turnaround shows how powerful that lineup from EG really is. And yeah, the Enfeeble, as well as everything else, just really cripples that Luna. He can't do so much damage, and not only that, you don't lifesteal from illusions. So the few times when he was hitting those illusions, he just gets nothing out of it with that Enfeeble as well on top of him.
Taking a look at the ending farm, we can say 747 GPM for Morphling. As you know, he started out slow, but he caught up so well. And what this all comes down to, I think, was maximizing potential. Every time there was an opportunity for EG to not just trade, but trade well and trade heavily, they did. They hung around, they hung around, they hung around. They ended up taking a Roshan, and before you knew it, Artur was gigantic. And yeah, I feel like C9, there was definitely a window of opportunity in that game where I think C9 really could have put the screws to EG, holding after that pickoff, before that pickoff of Fear really was where things kind of turned around. You know, C9 unable to crack the base at that point.
Yeah.
Well, guys, 49 minutes, 27 seconds. The time it took, 18-26, in a very close and competitive game one, and that is just the game that sets the tone. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. This is my co-caster, Fog. We're going to be back with game number 2 of our best of 5 grand finals, C9 versus EG, coming up next. Stick with us.